Hey guys, and welcome to C'est Bonjour Level 2 with me, Kate Byers. Today we're going to go over the parts of this awesome workbook. If I do say so myself, I wrote it. And we're going to start Module 1. All right, so if you will, just turn in your notebook to the third page. Here's a bit about the course and why it's written the way it's written. You can read that if you like. And then you can go to the table of contents. And the table of contents is basically the syllabus for the course. So everything that we do in this course happens in this order, in the same order that it appears in the book. So we'll start with part 1, which is review on page 8, and then we just keep going down from there. There's a midterm, page 63, and then there's a final exam, which is the last thing you do. All right, so you might notice that there's also this handy-dandy set of cheat sheets on the last page. If you don't have those in your book, just ask me in class or your teacher in class, and they will hand those to you. All right, so before you begin, you'll need to do a couple of technical things. You need 2 online accounts for this class. One is at bonjour.letsayhello.net, and that's where you actually do the coursework. So you do the automatically graded quizzes and watch videos online like this one. And then you need a social network account, which will connect you with our pen pals. All right, so you can read the rest of that and just make sure that you're prepared for the class. On page 7, there are all the schedules for the class. So if you attend a homeschool co-op with me, Kate, or with another teacher, you can find which day you start which module. So let's take this one, Metro 2015 to 16. On 9/14, you would start Module 1. And that means that you need to be done with Module 1 by the next class period, which is 9/21. Okay, because on 9/21, you'll start Module 2. All right, moving right along, our first lesson is on French 1. It's from last year. So we're just going to be reviewing what you already know. Now, if some things are new, don't worry. Now's the time to learn them. It's no big deal. That's why we do it at the beginning of the year. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with Module 1, Unit 1, the French sounds, and French 1 review. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to fill out this chart with the French sounds in this column. And all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the sound in this column right here. And then I'm going to give you an English word or phrase or something that it sounds like, just so you can have a memory trigger. And then we'll read a word in French that has that sound in it. Okay? So the first one is MN, and that's pronounced N, just like Nancy. And the word that we're going to find it in is automne, which means autumn. Now, just a note here, as we go through, these are example words in this column, but you do want to memorize these. Automne, beau, bonjour, bonjour, okay? All right, so if you will, just open your notebook to the same page that I'm on, and let's go ahead and fill out this chart. The second sound is EAU, which sounds like oh no, and our word is beau. The next one is OU, OU. And it sounds like, ooh, no you didn't. And our word is bonjour. The next one is R. It sounds just like hawking a loogie. Okay, you really got to get down into your guttural throat sounds to make it. Bonjour. The next one is OI, which is just like wah, wah, wah. Wah. Bonsoir. En says oh, like, oh, isn't she cute? Son. And guys, I know I type really fast, so if you need to, just pause the video, because I know that you can't write as fast as I type sometimes. The next one is AU, which is just like oh no. Chevaux. And the next one is EU. Now on this sound, I want you to say like no duh. And then I want you to make an oo shape with your lips. Okay, so if you make oo and say it sounds like It's a little different than and it's a little different than ou. It's somewhere in between. And our word is cheveux. The next one is ou, which is just ou. Another ou, no you didn't. We'll actually just copy and paste that. And this word is chou. Then we have ain, which is like the sound your mom makes when you're trying to get into the cookie jar, like demain. Ex just says eggs, like a dozen eggs. So this word is examen. The next sound is exc, which says X, like the letter X. Excellent. AI says A like hey. J'ai. E says like no duh. Je. EM says en, just like en as in she cute. Double L, sometimes but not always, says y, like y. Okay, sometimes it's just a normal L sound, like l, but sometimes it says y, fille. Okay, T, when it has an I after it, sometimes says s, like snake. Okay? So this word is démocratie with an S sound on the T. J says je, like massage. Je. And then the next two look similar. They're oui and ui. This one right here, O-U-I, do you notice there's an O-U there? So look, here's O-U, and that says ou. And then we know from last year that I always says E in French. So it's just oui, okay? Like, oui. The next one, you might remember from last year that if you have a U sound, you will make oo, make the oo shape with your mouth, but you will say E on the inside of your mouth. Okay, so try that right now. E. Okay? So if we do that for the U part, then we just say I for the I, it sounds like ui. So this one is oui, and this one is ui. Okay? The next one is A by itself always says ah, like aha. Now we've got several accents which you know about from last year, but I'm just going to highlight this one right here. This is I with accent aigu. Okay, and this says A, like hey, but you close your mouth just a little bit more. Okay, so it sounds French-like. Okay, and this word is malgré. The next three are ones that trip Americans up all the time, which is why we're going to do them in a row. They are un, and on, and I know they sound a little similar, so let's just review how you make them. Un is like the cookie jar sound, and this word is marin. En is like you were going to go say aha, but then you sort of wound up saying, oh, isn't she cute? Okay, en. On is like you were going to say oh, but then you ended up saying ah. Okay, on. Alright, so these are un, en, and on. Marin, marron, marron. If you don't have those down, this is the time to get it down in French too. So just practice those three in a row if you feel kind of unsure. All right, then the next two are a bit similar. One is single S and the other one is double S. Single S says Z like zebra. And double S says S like snake. So here's poison and poisson. I is super important in French, especially for not sounding like an American. In American English, we always say eh, okay, like ick. But in French, eh does not exist. It's always I, a very pure I sound, okay? So this word is prix. QU is exactly like K. Quand. All right, now you may remember this from last year. Final ST, D, and X are always silent. I'm sorry, final ST, D, X, and E are always silent. Okay, so don't pronounce them. And there's lots of words in this chart already where you can see that they're not pronounced. Like temps, or let's see, marrant. All right, the next one is the French U, which we just talked about up here in UI. Okay, so you're going to make U and say I. And it sounds like this, U. So this word is tu. Now you may remember from last year that there's another word, this word, which if you're not careful, you can make these sound exactly the same. This tu means you. This tout means all. Okay, so don't do that. Make sure and make your U's just like making U and saying E. The next one I call the peanut butter sound, because it's like getting peanut butter off the roof of your mouth. Nya. Agneau. And then your favorite little curly Q guy, C with a squiggle on the bottom, is called Cécile, and that has an S sound, like snake. Okay, so instead of being franqué, this is français. All right, guys, so that is the end of this chart right here. These are all the sounds from last year. Make sure you memorize them, memorize the sound, and how to read it in a word, okay? I'm not so concerned that you know like these columns where it sounds like something in English. That's really just a memory trigger. All right, so let's see if you can read these words. Try to read them either before me or with me, okay? Before you begin, you can pause the video right now and see if you can circle some of the words you know, like wa. Like there's a wa right there. Look, there's a s, okay? All right, let's try to read them. Croissant, garçon, excellent, poison, poisson, fille, américain, nous. All right, guys, so that is the end of Module 1, Unit 1. I will see you in the next unit.